Let me tell you something. You turned into the right place for today. I know I sound like Mike Tyson, but I'm not. We're going to find out today what it's like in answering what's happening in the room and into the ring.
I'm about to bring my thunder. I'm about to bring my opinions to the show.
And this is all going to be found on one show.
Agree or disagree, it's OPINIONish.
Oh, yeah! Travis, I think I had an aneurysm.
Yeah, did you pop something there, man? I got a little sweaty doing that.
Wow. Hey, everybody, and welcome to OPINIONish.
I'm sorry if I was coming out across as mean, dude. It's out of character for me.
It is. You generally would be a nice guy. Apparently, there's a bunch of names they use in wrestling, which is what we're talking about today.
We're talking about wrestling. I actually didn't. I've been to a wrestling match. I didn't really follow wrestling, but I was there during the 90s and the 2000s with The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, all those guys. Hulkster back in the 80s. I was exposed to it, and it's Americana that kind of uses.
Right.
It's in the culture. It's in the pop culture.
I think of Rocky. What was it, 3, where Hulk Hogan?
Hulk Hogan.
Thunder Lips. Yeah, there you go. And that is part of America. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, look what happened at the White House. I mean, you ever thought like wrestling at the White House? So we needed an expert here because while I know a lot about wrestling, I don't know a lot about wrestling.
So we got somebody in here who's going to lay the smackdown on us. We got Mr. Matt Doolittle. He's a big wrestling fan.
Hey, Al, how are you?
When we put this together, Travis and I wholeheartedly said we got to get Matt in here.
You know all about wrestling.
Yeah.
I've been following it since I was a kid, and growing up here in Orlando, we had the WCW guys wrestling out at Hollywood Studios, and they would be in town. So we got exposed to it a lot around here. I was a fan up till I went to college and just didn't have time to watch it or stick with these storylines. And then I slowly got back into it. And then I actually met my wife because of pro wrestling. And we used to go to the free NXT shows out at Full Sail. And that kind of brought us together. I love it because it's basically a guy's soap opera.
Okay.
There's a storyline. And then sometimes the wrestling gets in the way. You're like, no, go back to that storyline. The thing with Danhausen right now. Like, just show that.
What was like the peak era of the wrestling for you?
I think it was that Attitude Era when it was the Monday Night Wars, where at 9 o'clock you would start switching between TNT and USA Network because it was Raw and Monday Night Nitro.
And who were some of the characters back then? So what year was this?
WCW, it was when Hogan was there with the NWO, Scott Hall, Goldberg.
Okay, so he was in that black, and they were doing like Suck It.
So that was DX over on the WWE side, where they were trying to counter this because they were fighting. And at WWE was your Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker. Hogan went to both. Back and forth a lot, but so they were fighting each other, and that was like mid '90s, and it was just this era of that's when they started going on the Tonight Show.
It was inescapable. It became more mainstream.
But I think Hulk Hogan is the reason that it is that way.
It broke through because in the the mid '80s, late '80s, that was the thing. It was pro-American. Yeah, I've watched all the documentaries on him, good and bad. But he had the tan look, the blonde hair, the 22-inch pythons. It was what everybody wanted to be back then.
I think too we had football players. Like so think about when you're 10, 11 years old or whatever. You had football players, but all you saw was them play. You didn't know who they were.
Right.
For them. Let's say you're Terry Bradshaws and people that are already retired and that sort of thing. It's not where it is today. But the wrestlers were these athletes that your buddies, you would go on a big dirt mountain and you would emulate them all together.
I got in a lot of trouble in middle school for emulating.
Drop the elbow on somebody.
I'm going to go and ask you guys who you chose. Who were you when you're on the dirt mountain? Did you have
the dirt mountain like a character?
Yeah. What character would you follow?
Bam Bam Bigelow.
Bam Bam Bigelow.
I think I was doing mostly like Stone Cold stuff.
Okay, it's
legitimate middle school
He's
era.
not the 80s era.
I'm leaping Lenny Lozano.
Okay.
Only because of the name. Because I loved it.
I also love Andre the Giant. I was a huge Princess Bride fan. But, a lot of crossover, these celebrities. But, there's also a dark side to the ring that is kind of caught up with all these wrestlers. And I think we should bring somebody on the show.
Well, absolutely. You said that. And, whenever we talk about anybody that has actually triumphed through those dark times, they're very inspirational to us. And I have someone that I'm really excited about having on the show. He's somebody that has gone through that and has turned basically his life into helping others. And that's the one and only, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to OPINIONish, Marc Mero! Yes! Mark, how are you, man?
Good to see you guys.
Man,
I'm doing great, man. It's a good day to be a bad man.
That's what they say, man. That's what they say. We're real excited about having you on. I think today we're going to, obviously, we want people to get to know you and that might not be really 100% familiar with who you are and what you do and such, but really kind of get you your story because, I'm just, to me, when I'm around you, you have this energy of just positivity and it brings a lot to me and I miss hanging out with you. And I want people to know a little bit about just really what you offer as well as what you're trying to offer the world, right?
Well, thank you, Mitch. It's been a few years since I've seen you, and man, we had some great times. I mean, obviously, I don't live in Florida anymore, but when I did, we certainly had some great times together. Being on your television shows, your radio shows, now your podcasts, it's been an incredible journey. But something that really stands out in my mind, Mitch, when I first got into speaking. Now, remember, this is my 20th year speaking at schools, churches, corporations all over the world. I mean, everywhere. I've been to Russia, Guatemala, the UK. I've been everywhere. It's just been an incredible journey. But I'll never forget one of my first events ever, okay? You brought your son to it.
Yes.
And there was maybe 10 people in the audience, And I'm thinking to myself, what have I gotten myself into, man? This is so embarrassing to walk out to this auditorium, this venue, and there's just a few people scattered throughout it, and you were one of them. And I'll never forget. And what's so crazy now, and now I look back on my career, right? I don't know if you could see this picture right here. That's a
Oh, look! Yeah,
wow!
Look how many people are here, y'all. Wow!
Now I go to Texas, and they bus in 25 schools into an arena where I do 8,000 or 10,000 kids at a time. So I think about where I started, and the reason why I'm sharing this is that anyone listening to this podcast, man, yesterday's failures are tomorrow's success. You got to pass failure on your road to success, on your way to success, and I certainly did. And anyone that is successful will tell you the same thing. But so many people give up on those moments. It's been so easy to quit and go, I can't believe this. I showed up. I go here with this powerful story, and there's 10 people in the audience. But I'll never forget. After the presentation, you came up to me. You go, Mark, that was great, man. I was like, wow.
And my son loved it as well. I still have the pictures. My son Sawyer, and they're doing the muscle stuff,
awesome.
And he was moved by it as well. He was at the age at the time. I think he was probably about 14, 15, and I saw a lot of this, Mark, when he was sitting next to his dad, wiping away tears because it is an emotional event that you offer folks, and I witnessed that. Sitting next to my son, and so he was touched by it as well, and he appreciated the fact that you were so open and honest, and actually gave a lot of kids hope. And I think that's really what you're is that part of your message?
It is. I mean, obviously, and it's so different today, Mitch, and you go to schools today, our smartphone has outsmarted us. I'm telling you, man, it has really affected young people's lives. We look at the positive things of it, but there's so many detrimental things when you're young because kids are sometimes scrolling all night long. They don't get enough sleep. They're not prepared to get up early in the morning for school. And not only that, the social media presence of comparing yourself to other people and not feeling adequate and, constantly putting yourself down, and we live by what we speak to ourselves. Our self-affirmations are so important. And that's why I really preach positive self-affirmations, no matter what, man. I'm telling you, and no one's life is perfect, but you got to wake up and you say, man, you look at your blessings in your life. And I think about as bad as maybe things have gone in my life. And that's why I share my story, because I want people to know that you're going to have some rocky roads in life. There's going to be a lot of storms, and some storms you can just walk through, and some storms you got to run through. And there are storms you got to hold on with everything you got. But don't ever give up. Don't let go. Don't give up on your dreams, because after the storm, Mitch, as you know, the sun will always shine.
Amen. And what I've learned, and I learned this in church actually 2 weeks ago. They had this whole thing is that it's what's on the other side. If you can go, listen, instead of saying, look what's happened to me, to look what can I learn from this? It actually kind of helps bring you to the other side of whatever you're going through. And I want to talk more about that. First, let's get people to know you. You grew up in Buffalo, and then you moved over to Liverpool. You grew up in a single parent home. I remember your mother had recently, when we first met, your mother had recently kind of passed along, and you never even thought about wrestling. You were obviously an athlete. You loved the hockey. You're a big football champ. And then also you went into the ring, though, but not a wrestling ring, right?
Yes, I've been in many rings, and I started out as a boxing ring. You know, I won the New York State Golden Gloves, and I became a member of the U.S. boxing team back in 1981. I moved to Colorado Springs, Colorado, to train at the U.S. Olympic Training Center. And but the Olympics were boycotted in '80, so to wait 4 more years wasn't an option for me, or 3 more years at that time, and it wasn't an option. So I decided to turn pro. And just 2 weeks before my first professional boxing match, I had my nose shattered in an accident. So I needed reconstructive surgery. The doctor said it'd be almost a year before I'd come back and start having full contact. But it was in that time off that my whole life was dedicated to sports ever since I was a kid, you know, whether it was hockey, football, you know, all the lacrosse, all the different sports I was playing growing up. I was always in a season, so I was always training, always working out, always getting ready. But now this is the first time in my life I actually can't do anything. I can't get ready for a hockey game, a football game, a boxing match because of my condition. And it was in that time I always thought I was missing something, Mitch. I thought I got to see the kids. I got to go to the parties and drink and get high and have fun. And, you know, then they'd tell the stories next day about how much fun they had, and I never did any of that. But now I decided to hang out with these people, and my whole life changed. I became addicted to cocaine, and went through 10 years of my life of addiction, lost everything, you know, and then making a comeback, you know. And my comeback was so ironic because I had a bunch of friends over my apartment, and we were probably partying, you know, watching TV. My buddy's flipping through the TV channels, and he lands on professional wrestling. Now, at this point in my life, I'm now 30 years old.
Okay, is that is that an older age for somebody to enter into that kind of sport?
Not a young buck anymore.
No, right? I mean, to me,
well, you know, Mitch, it's very unusual. It's like starting any sport at that age. Let's say you were starting football or baseball or basketball at 30 years old. You know, it's not really conducive to, you know, making it in that sport. But anyways, long story short, my buddy's flipping through the TV channels, and he lands on professional wrestling. I go, whoa, stop it there. And as I'm looking at the television, I get that overwhelming feeling. You know, some people call it the aha moment, you know, in life, where I go, hey, guys, I can do that. My buddies, and they're still my buddies today. That's what's so cool. We reminisce about this. They go, are you crazy? Look at the size of those guys. They're going to pick you up over the head and throw you right out of that ring. I said, no way. I'm telling you, I could do that. My other buddy goes, Mark, you're 30 years old. What are you going to do, start a pro career now? And I said those 2 words, Mitch, I have lived by. I share at every presentation. Those 2 words are, I believe. There you
go.
And but even though you believe, you have to take action towards a goal or a dream. And the action I had to take, I had to find out where there was a wrestling school. Mitch, I didn't know how to wrestle. I was living in Venice, Florida. There was a wrestling school in Tampa, about, I don't know, 60 miles apart or so. Yeah. And I started driving there after work and on weekends. I got off all my drugs. I mean, I went completely clean. Nice. Now I'm 31 years old, and I get an opportunity to drive the 9-hour drive from Venice, Florida to Atlanta, Georgia, to be one of those guys that gets beat up on television for $150. I said, I'll take it, man. Mitch, my first match, I'm in a tag team match against Doom. Now, if you don't remember Doom, Doom was Ron Simmons and Butch Reed, 2 of the biggest, baddest guys out there, okay?
All right.
And I remember them punching me and kicking me in the match, and I'm thinking to myself, I thought wrestling was fake. This hurts, man. I mean, they're really laying it in on me. You know, I'm just a job guy, you know, making $150. Anyways, I kind of screwed up the ending of the match, you know, and they were upset. And next thing you know, they said, Dusty Rhodes needs to see you in his office. Yeah. Dusty Rhodes was the booker. He's the one that made the matches. He was in charge.
And this is at WCW? You mentioned Atlanta. So
this is WCW, yes. Okay. This is 1991. Okay. And I walk into Dusty's office, and I start apologizing profusely. I says, hey, Dusty, listen, I'm really sorry I messed up the finish of the match. And he goes, what? Well, I don't care about that. He goes, kid, anybody ever tell you look like Little Richard? I thought he was talking about a wrestler. And I said, Little Richard. I go, I never heard of a wrestler named Little Richard. He goes, no, not a wrestler. He goes, womp bomb, loo bomb, womp bomb, boom. I go, oh, the singer of Little Richard. He goes, yes. I go, I never heard that before. He goes, I think I got a gimmick for you.
Was it the mullet?
I'm telling you,
the
my
long
life.
hair, the mustache.
It had to have been the mullet.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Okay. I love that.
And Mitch, my whole life changes because of Dusty Rhodes seeing something in me, but I didn't really know how to wrestle, you know.
Sure.
So they put me on the road with some superstars like Ricky Morton and Steve Regal, the guys that were just fantastic wrestlers that taught me how to wrestle as I went along, you know. And obviously that first year I won Rookie of the Year, Pro Wrestling Illustrated Rookie of the Year. Next year I was Most Improved, so I really took to it, you know. And then becoming a 3-time World Television Champion. But I got to wrestle everybody. I mean, you name it: Ric Flair, Sting, Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Big Show. You name it, I got to be in the ring with those guys. I was in wrestling at probably the best time in wrestling. It was called the Attitude Era.
Okay.
And it was probably one of the greatest times in professional wrestling.
Now, Mark, you're a natural athlete, obviously, but there's a lot of showmanship and theatrics involved with wrestling. Did you naturally take to that, or did you have to go through some kind of training to find your character?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, some of my fondest memories in wrestling was Dusty Rhodes, who was one of the most flamboyant wrestlers out there ever, okay? He had to teach me how to become this character, Johnny B. Bad, okay? Now, remember, here I am, a tough boxer from New York, and I got to talk from, I'm from Macon, Georgia, with a Southern accent, acting feminine. You know,
can you give us a little bit of that Johnny B. Bad accent?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you exactly what happened. Okay, so the first time I'm making my debut on I think it was Clash of Champions or pay-per-view or one of those big shows, and they introduced me, and I have to come on. I have to go up to the microphone, and I have to say, I'm so pretty, I should have been born a little girl. And now,
That was live?
Now, so Dusty's with me before we go on. No,
That's something Little Richard would
gets
say.
better. So before we go on air, Dusty wants to work with me on how to walk and talk like this character that he sees, Johnny B. Bad. Now, you remember how a flamboyant Dusty was. So Dusty
absolutely.
so Dusty would strut up to that microphone. He'd show me and warm ups, and he goes, I'm so pretty, I should be born a little girl. And I go, oh, wow, Dusty. So I'd try to walk and do the thing, and I walk up, I go, I'm so pretty, I should be born a little girl. He goes, no, you said, I'm so pretty, I should be a little girl.
Flip your hair.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. Now, guys, remember this, okay? Let me just go back a little bit, because I think you guys will get a kick out of this story, okay? All right. Now remember, I was estranged from my father. My father is a Jew from New York, Brooklyn, New York, okay? And my dad talks like this. He says, hey, Mark, here's $1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From Brooklyn.
Straight up, sure.
So now I'm estranged from my dad because I was a drug addict for many years and made some really bad choices and really hurt my dad pretty badly, Left boxing, everything that my dad used to work my corner, so leaving boxing was a big separation for us. And anyway, so now I get this phone call that I got to meet with Dusty Rhodes. This is before I sign my contract. And so I have to drive 9 hours to the CNN Center from Venice, Florida. And I go outside to get in my car, and they repossessed my Isuzu pickup truck. I couldn't pay my bills.
They followed you up there.
So now I got no ride. So I call my buddy, Mark Hildreth, who eventually became Van Hammer in wrestling. I helped get him into it. And he drove me the 9 hours to the studio. CNN Center, I have a meeting with Dusty Rhodes at a certain time. I'm in the waiting room at the CNN Center. Now, like, his office is next to Ted Turner, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so I'm sitting in the office waiting, and they said, Dusty, we'll see you now. So I walk into his office. He's on a really important phone call. Like, he's not even paying attention to me, And I'm standing at his desk, just standing there, and he goes, hold on. He puts the phone down. He goes, hey, kid, here's a contract. Have your attorney look it over and get back to me. And he gets back on the phone. I get the contract. My first year is 6 figures. My second year doubles, right? And I'm thinking to myself, so I said, excuse me, Dusty. And he's kind of perturbed. He goes, hold on. What? I go, do you mind if I just sign this? I don't even have an attorney. And he goes, welcome to WCW Wrestling. Now, I'm excited, man. I just signed a 6-figure deal, okay? But the first person I want to tell is my best friend, who I'm estranged from, is my father. Now, guys, there's a few things you don't do in life, okay? And you remember the old saying, you don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit in the wind. You know
Jim
that,
Croce,
okay? Well, there's one more that you might not have heard of. You don't call a Jew collect, okay? So,
yeah, you haven't had that money come in yet.
My dad was very frugal, okay? Now, so anyways, and back then, now I got no money on me or nothing, right. So I got to make a collect phone call to New York. And this is back in, I remember 1991 or early 90s, they go, collect call from, and then you say your name.
Right.
You know, hey, Dad, this is Mark, you know, and they say, we accept the call, right? So my dad, even knowing he's not going to accept the call, they go, collect call from, I go, Dad, don't hang up, it's an emergency. Yeah. He goes, all right.
Commercials about we had a baby, it's boy. Yeah.
So he accepts the phone call, and I go, Dad, I got to tell you something. I just signed a huge contract with WCW Wrestling, and the phone goes silent. And all of a sudden, my dad goes, Mark, I knew someday my son would make it. He goes, son, what do they got you doing? I go, well, Dad, they got me doing this Little Richard game. Little Richard? He goes, isn't that gay schmatzer? I go, Dad, but they're paying me $100,000. He goes, you know, Mark, I always liked that Little Richard.
Perfect.
So, anyways, so my dad's a detective, okay? So a lot of his friends are police officers. So he has all his friends over his home for this debut of me coming out. Now remember, I'm walking up the microphone. These are the same cops and stuff that would go to all my boxing matches that watch me knock people out, okay? Yeah. And they see me with a purple feather boa on, you know, walk up this microphone, and I walk up and go, I'm so pretty, I should be born a little girl. And my dad said the room went silent. So my dad says, hey, at least he's making good money.
Right. It's a character you're playing. I'm sure everybody understood that.
I know.
There was a thing about wrestling that, you know, now it's pretty open, transparent, you know, and back then there was still a little mystique behind it.
I guess you're right. Yeah, back then everybody was like, oh, these are the real personas.
You would think that people are doing that. There has to be a great moment for your father. Was he able to see when you met Jimmy Carter?
No, he wasn't there then, but he was there at many of the, big matches I was in later on. And unfortunately, he passed away, while I was still in wrestling. But I lost my mom and my dad both, shortly, very, very close together. But he got to see it. My mom got to see it. So, that was a blessing I had. They knew that their son finally made it.
Can you talk a little bit about that experience with meeting President Carter?
Well, it was a presidential dinner here in Atlanta.
Wow.
And I couldn't believe I was even invited, But fortunately, Jimmy Carter was a big wrestling fan. Who'd ever know? But growing up in the South and stuff, so they grew up a lot of these kids with wrestling right in their backyards, and they invited me to go to the presidential dinner here in Atlanta, and I got to meet him and
body slam him
with him, and he was a great guy. I mean, he was so polite and funny, and just a really good experience. But I'll tell you, probably my favorite person I ever met though was Muhammad Ali.
Wow.
And it was such an amazing thing because Muhammad Ali, I never knew he was a big fan of my character, Johnny B. Bad, because it was based off of Little Richard and Muhammad Ali. Because remember, I'm a Bad Man comes from Muhammad Ali, And so anyways, I'm at, it was Halloween Havoc. It was a match in Detroit at Joe Louis Arena. And Muhammad Ali comes to watch me wrestle. Now,
wow.
I'm backstage. And Muhammad Ali, they said, Muhammad Ali's here. He wants to meet. I go, oh my gosh! Now got my belt on. I'm warming up for this big match, and all of a sudden through the curtain comes like Muhammad Ali's son or nephew. I can't remember which one it was, but he comes running through. He's like, Johnny B. Bad. I go, hey, how you doing? All of a sudden, Muhammad Ali comes through. I go, get out of here, kid. No, I didn't say that. No. But Muhammad Ali comes up to me. And he puts his hand out to shake it. And I got this picture that I have that I'll cherish forever. He goes to shake my hand, and I do my best Muhammad Ali impersonation. I go, I was the greatest fighter of all time. I'll be amazing. I'll be foaming. Look at my face. I'm so pretty. And all of a sudden he just hugs me, man, and laughing. You know, and it's a moment. But the coolest thing was being in the ring wrestling, okay? And looking at Muhammad Ali sitting right in the center, ringside, first seat, man. I'm just
being a boxer and having aspirations of being a boxer. That might have had to be huge for you, right?
It was amazing. Yes, he was my favorite boxer, and meeting him, you know, I just met so many celebrities. Meeting Michael Jackson invites me to his concert to come up on stage and go backstage with him. It was just me, him, and he had a little friend back then called, remember Emmanuel Lewis?
Oh yeah,
little friend, literally little friend.
Yeah. It was just us three backstage, you know, just talking.
Isn't that crazy? He does. Yeah, you do this thing with Michael Jackson too in your presentations. Are you still doing that for your tour, the dance?
Oh well, we did. Yeah, we would do the Thriller dance. You know,
that's awesome.
Fortunately, I don't have to do that anymore because I'm not the best dancer. But I had a lot of fun with that. You know, so yeah, we did a lot of stuff with that. But anyways, it was just incredible to travel all over the world and meet celebrities. But the greatest gift is inspiring another person, making a difference in other people's lives. There is no greater joy, guys.
I would imagine just the fact that doing what you love, number one, and the opportunity to meet people that you look up to as well is those things where you're thinking positive and moving doing in the right direction. Because it sounds like, you know, if in your own minutes that excuse me. That, you know, you were a user and you had to go through that, you know, just cleaning yourself up and doing that rehab and that sort of thing, where positivity came afterwards throughout your life, and then get to be able to see basically the benefit of heading into obviously the direction of life that God has given to you, but also the fact that this positivity builds from other positivity. I think that we see a lot, especially like in the movies, a lot of times as well.
Yeah. So several movies recently, based about wrestling characters, have come out. Have you seen like The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke or The Iron Claw?
I did see that.
Machine.
I saw the Wrestler.
Do they accurately portray the life as a wrestler and the struggles?
It's embellished and exaggerated quite a bit. I mean, I've never seen people just shooting up or passing drugs around the locker room. I never saw that before. Now, it could be, come over here and let me show you something a little different, a little more discreet. But that movie, it was a fairly accurate portrayal of wrestling. And you know, the sad part about it is watching so many of my colleagues that continue to wrestle in their 60s, 50s, 60s, and even 70s because they need the money, or, you know, they haven't kicked the drug habit or whatever it may be, or just falling on hard times, you know. I go to these wrestling conventions and I see some of my old friends, and you know, and our bodies are shot. I mean, when you do 250 cities a year, your body takes a beating.
For sure.
I've had 14 surgeries, and I know that's just anyone been in the business as long as I have has got multiple surgeries or knee replacement or shoulder or back issues, you know, and different things. But I'm one of the lucky ones, man, that I feel great. I'm healthy. You know, I haven't touched drugs in what, my anniversary is, let's see, 1990. So, I mean, and then I had my setback in 2020 where I relapsed. And so since 2023, that's 23 years clean now. Man. So it's been a blessing. And what helps me stay clean is, man, I don't ever want to let someone else down. I don't want to be a stumbling block for somebody else, and I don't want to ever die and they go, oh my God, can you believe Marc Mero died from an overdose? You know, and we see that happen of guys that have kicked it and then went back one time and passed on. And I believe God gave me this platform, and I would not want to just disappoint God first and foremost to go back and do something so detrimental to everything he's given me.
That's what I love about you. You do mention in your tours that you talk about, what's the running total now that of other wrestlers? Because that is a point of your presentation where you show pictures of others.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, I may have wrestled against probably 30 or, well, I know it's 31's on my list that I show at schools, but there's many more since then that I don't keep adding. It doesn't need, you make your
point
point.
is made, right, exactly.
Yeah, it makes its point of what a bad choice can do, because these were wonderful people, that I got to wrestle and travel with and become friends with, and share birthdays, holidays, Christmas with many of them.
Exactly, and it's sad altogether. One of the documentaries that we were talking about was the resurrection of Jake the Snake. You obviously share locker room with him and everything. You see that? Tell us a little about him, and are you still in contact with him or even other wrestlers that maybe might have helped you through?
I'm glad you mentioned that. When I was the captain of the Survivor Series team in 1997, and my team was myself, Jake the Snake Roberts, Barry Windham, and Rocky Maivia. The Rock makes his debut at Madison Square Garden, and he was on my team, and we won Survivor Series. But Jake obviously traveled together with me, and we were another famous match was when Stone Cold Steve Austin said Austin 316. Yeah. That was me and Jake both wrestled Steve that night for King of the Ring. But Jake, he obviously had a horrible drug addict. He was a horrible drug addiction. But such a super guy, man. Watching him kick it and doing so well now through the help of my friend Diamond Dallas Page, who's one of my closest friends today. We were just on the phone yesterday. It's like when we pick up the phone, we can't get off for about an hour.
I love
it's
that.
just
DDP.
incredible. Yeah, and we're planning a big vacation with him coming up in September. We're getting a bunch of the guys and their wives. We're all going to his retreat in Florida, and going to hang out for 3 or 4 days and just do positive stuff. We do his DDP yoga and just have some great conversations.
Would you ever have thought, one day we're going to be doing yoga together? Right.
Well, Mark, I want to.
Hey, brother, I got to tell you, Dallas and I have wrestled probably close to 200 times against each other, and we traveled the world. We opened up so many pay-per-views against each other, for the belt, for the girl, for the money, all these different stipulations they had. We had so much fun. And I promise you, I swear to you, yoga was never a word we used.
Right.
I think, Mark,
but now it's transforming lives. I mean, it's such a great stretch and it's such a great exercise for doing that.
For sure.
And I incorporate that with my weightlifting also, but I don't do heavy weights anymore. I do very lightweight, and don't push my body too hard like I used to.
Now you move away, and I can't work out with you. No. Now when we were probably at the same.
Mitch, you were just ready to get in there.
That's right. Mitch worked out at my old gym. Yeah. But guys, I just turned 66 last week.
All right.
And I feel like I'm 36. I'm blessed, man. I feel really good. And and I realize, the average man only lives about 74, 76 years old, and when I know that, and not that I'm saying I'm going to die in 10 years, but I know I'm in my last chapters, and so it is so easy to wake up with a positive attitude, because what is the alternative, guys?
You're right.
That sucks, man.
Smart.
I don't want to wake up miserable, and I love inspiring others. Like, I love people seeing me happy or positive or upbeat, because it brings such a positive energy into a room, and marrying a woman just like that, it is incredible to have someone around you that is so positive and happy and fun to be around. Like I love traveling with her. I love being around her, and we have so much fun. And she's going to she still works a full-time job, but she uses all her vacation time to travel with me.
I love that. What does she do, Mark?
She's a director at a college here in Atlanta.
Very cool. Nice. Very cool.
Very nice. Yeah, I was going to ask you, Mark, because the way these new wrestlers are training is way different than you guys did in the 90s. And you say the addiction problems back then, because there really wasn't all this rehab stuff. You guys didn't have a performance center like they have now. Is that kind of why there's been a shift in even the wrestling culture, where we don't hear about a lot of these drug problems from some of the newer guys?
And that's such a wonderful thing. First of all, one of the things that we really pushed for when we lost a lot of our wrestlers, is that we would get on television, and I'd be on television with, you remember Bruno Sammartino, you remember superstar Billy Graham, you know, and we would get on these TV shows back then. You know, they had the Glenn Beck show, they had all different news shows that we would be on, and we really pushed the WWF at the time to implement Olympic drug testing, and also having free rehab for any wrestler that is struggling. And they both of those have been done by the WWE, so I commend them for that. I don't see as many wrestlers obviously going through what we went through, or when I say many of the guys that I knew went through, that passed at such a young age. And also, they're not on the road like we used to be. They just do television now. They're not traveling to house shows night after night. And Sundays, we'd do an afternoon show at Madison Square Garden, then we'd fly over to Philadelphia and do an evening show, you know. So It was an incredible schedule that we had back then that these guys don't have. And sometimes when you have an incredible schedule, you're hurt all the time.
Yeah.
And remember something, like when you have the Super Bowl of football, you know, after the game, these guys are off for 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
You know, our Super Bowl is WrestleMania. The next night we are at Monday Night Raw.
Right.
So there's no off season. So it's a big change. It's really hard on your body, and a lot of people don't understand that. But the guys today don't have what we went through back then. So kudos that they're not only making big money now, but their bodies are much healthier.
Okay, we brought that up. I think one of the biggest, the biggest stories that we hear out of wrestling, when especially we talk about those that had possibly not only mental issues, but also going through some kind of drug issue as well. But that's Chris Benoit. That affected you tremendously, and you know, you were very vocal about it afterwards, as you just mentioned, and really just going on. Did you get any when you went on these programs? Did you get any slack from like other wrestlers, or maybe from upper management, or did it kind of push you in a different place as far as how they treated you?
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, you know, and I don't judge anybody for how they feel, and I kind of understand it, but I'm actually blackballed from anything from the WWE. If they came to my hometown here in Atlanta, I wouldn't be able to go backstage and say hello to everybody, you know. And it's unfortunate. There's only a few people that still hold a grudge about me speaking out, but they don't look at the amazing effect that it had, that we very seldom see a wrestler dying today of a drug overdose because of people like me that stood up and said enough is enough. I wrestled Chris Benoit probably close to 100 times. You know, we traveled all over. He was a great guy. You know, I mean, obviously what happened was horrific, and it was just so shocking to see a friend that, you know, went off the deep end like that no one ever saw coming, or you know, you talk to any wrestler, very seldom you'll find a guy that says a bad thing about him other than what happened later on, you know. But he was a tremendous wrestler, tremendous athlete, and you know, we don't know how many, you know, taking chair shots or head shots, and you don't realize and how much trauma. Even when you land on your back, your head still hits the mat. So we don't know how bad that some of us have been hurt over the years.
His finisher was literally driving his head into the mat, and he did that over and over and over.
So you're talking like CTE or something.
Yeah.
You know, and it really took. I mean, that's ballsy that you did it, because obviously you knew that you're speaking out against everybody else. So I knew that had to be very difficult. But it goes to show you a little bit about your character. About like you do the right thing, you don't have to worry about it. Things might happen to you, but if you know you're doing the right thing, right?
It's hard to stay silent. Also, when you see your friends falling to this, there's a culture of abuse in the industry, and you shined a light on it, and now there's been significant change because of it.
Yeah, you know, you got to be proud of who's looking back at you in the mirror every day, and I certainly am. I'm glad that I stood up and did that. It's unfortunate that, you know, others have been recognized for things they've done after wrestling, and what I have done for the last 20 years of changing, helping, and saving lives with students was never even brought up at WWE. And remember, I'm a product of them guys, and how cool would it have been, you know, that they had a program at that school, I think it was called Star program or something like that. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was a program where, a wrestler might show up at a school and the kids go crazy because they see him on television, but there's not a real story behind it, where mine has a story of, tragedy and triumph. And there's a story and where kids walk out of there feeling empowered. How cool would it have been if WWE would have partnered with me and, had traveled the country of being put up banners of wrestling and stuff at schools and making them known for sending a guy like me to the school to do that. Not that I ever needed that or anything. Thank goodness I didn't. But
it's a no-brainer.
It would have been nice to partner with them. Yeah. But who knows? Someday maybe things will change. But I won't be defined by my wrestling career. I want to be defined when I leave this earth.
Yeah.
It's the difference made in someone else's life.
I want to ask about that legacy. Let's get into Champion of Choices.
This is really cool.
How did that come about? What's the meaning behind the name?
Well, it's funny. Mitch remembers when I had a gym called Body Slam, okay? Yes, and I got a phone call from Melbourne High School football coach. And all he said was, hey, Mark, we're getting ready to start our season. This is in August, okay, of 1991. I'm sorry, of 2007, August of 2007. And he says, can you come to speak to our players about, remember, they just saw me on all these TV shows about not doing steroids or drugs and, making good choices. I said, yeah, sure. I didn't have no script or no nothing. I just went there and spoke from my heart. Well, what happened was after the presentation, back then the kids were big on Facebook in 2007. Yeah. And I got all these messages from the football players saying how it really inspired them. And some said, it changed my life, man. And it was really cool. But unbeknownst to me, that football coach called another school's football coach and said, hey, we just had Marc Mero here. He did a great job with our kids. You should have him speak to your players. He goes, speak to our players. Let him speak to the whole school. Right. And that's how it started, guys. And then I was doing schools in Atlanta. And when I go to Atlanta, I always stay. I was living in Florida at the time in Winter Park. And I would stay with DDP at his home here in Atlanta. And I would do schools, all the schools around the Atlanta area. Well, Dallas, who started the DDPY Yoga, had a whole film crew. And he said, hey, Mark, do you mind if the guys go down and film your presentation? Now, we always get a photo release and a video release from schools when we go, right, if we're allowed to. And they signed a photo and video release, so we were allowed to bring this crew there that filmed it. Well, a couple days later, Dallas said to me, hey, we put together this 5-minute video of you speaking. Do you mind if we put it up on our YouTube channel? He goes, hey, you never know, could go viral. And I go, sure, put it up, Well, next thing you know, he calls me back a few days later, and he goes, did you see how many people have watched that? He goes, there's 27,000 or something, then 100,000. Next thing you know, millions of people are watching this video, and it goes all over the world. But not just with people. I mean, Lil Wayne shares it, Charlie Sheen shares it, awesome. Damon Wayans shares. All these celebrities are sharing my video. Next thing you know, we count the number. So we went to Dallas and we started adding up the numbers. Over 500 million people have seen this video called Mother's Love. It's just incredible. But the cool thing about it was that not only did it inspire a lot of people and more people going back and telling their mom they love them, but we had that month that it went viral, we had 3,000 booking requests come in.
Wow. Wow.
Programs all over the world. It's just incredible. So I've been busy ever since. I average about 230 events a year. And guys, and the sad part is this is going to be my farewell tour. This is my last year. And it's not that I won't do presentations here and there. I just don't want to tour anymore. I've been living out of a suitcase, out of a hotel for the last 30-something years of my life. And I really want to be home. If I'm going to travel, I want to travel with my wife. And a lot of people don't realize the hardship that you take on, the pain you take on from all the students that write you. Now, we get over 100 messages after every presentation, and I go through them all. And the kids that are suicidal or addiction or being bullied at school, and you got to read all these and go through them, and I try to answer every single one or get them the help they need. And then it's dealing with principals and administration of going back and forth. There's so much. The presentation's easy because that's only an hour, but it's the aftermath that really takes a toll on your heart. And you take on so many kids that are just hurting. Yeah. And that's what's really hard. And as you get older, it gets a little harder because you understand what these kids are going through that we never had to go through. Now, there was always been bullying. It's always been around, but it was different back when we were kids. You know, it wasn't like it is now. You know, you went home, you don't have to deal with those people anymore. But now, because of social media, it could be 24/7.
I wanted to ask about that. There's this trend going around. We talked about here on the show called looks maxing, where these young men are going through extremes to perfect their image. They're doing steroid use, HGH. Have you encountered any of that in the school tours you do?
Well, you know, it's so different because I encounter everything, you name it, because after the presentation, I meet with students. Like, they line up and I meet with them and allow them to have a little story they want to share with me, you know. And I found every instance, you know, and it's changing too, you know, with, you know, we were going through this thing where kids were acting out these things where they consider themselves furries.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Tails.
It was just really hard to see these beautiful little kids that wanted to be an animal, or you know, wanted to act out a fantasy like that they went through. But seeing kids try to perfect their image, and I blame social media on that, because they're always comparing themselves to somebody else, or they watch an influencer who is taking you know, a testosterone or doing this or that to their hair or their face or whatever, and
Matt does that actually.
Yeah,
it's a shame. It's a shame, but what they're exposed to, and they try and imitate that.
Yeah.
Matt, excuse me, Mark. You had an acronym that you used, BAD, B-A-D-D. Are you still incorporate that, and is that part of the message as well? And then second part of this question is, can you share, like, what do they come up to you and say? Like, man, I've been thinking about it. Thanks. You really motivated me. Or are they explicitly specific on some stuff? Like, man, I was going to do this and this changed my... What are they saying to you after that? After the presentations?
You know, it's funny. You know, now I think back when I first opened my line was, it's a good day to be a bad man.
Right.
Yeah. Well, bad is B-A-D-D. And for folks that are probably going, what is he talking about? It stands for B against destructive decisions. Nice. Okay, that's what that means. So for anybody that caught that at the beginning, go, what is he talking about? You know? Bad man. Now, to answer your other question, was that when kids line up or kids write to me, I get so many letters from students with social media. I'm real popular on the social media platforms that I get a lot of personal mail. And most of them are how it inspired them, but we always find those kids that say it saved their life and changed their life, you know, and we get so many messages like that really stand out, that I've met so many wonderful kids, and you know, some of them have really kept in touch with me all these years.
So you still talk to them.
It's funny because every week I get someone that saw me 5, 10, 15, or now even 20 years ago that say I saved their life, and now they're playing you know, pro football. They're one kid I just seen the other day is playing for the Arizona Cardinals. You know, I got a real cool story. Was you know, remember Mitch? I used to pass out the goal-setting cards where I challenge people to write their dreams and goals into existence. Well, this little kid named Petey Vargos, he saw me when he was 10 years old. Now, the reason I'm going to share this story with you is his father and I are now very good friends on social media. I never met him in person, but Mr. Vargos brought his son Petey to my presentation when Petey was 10 years old. And I'm sharing about dreams and goals. I said, write them into existence. And I share mine, how I wrote down mine when I was 10 years old. That became a reality in my life. Well, little Petey Vargos writes down, I want to be a pro bowler. And I actually have the picture of the card that they put up, I think, on the refrigerator or somewhere. Well, Petey Vargos would see this every day. And his father said to him, do you want to start going to the bowling alley? And he goes, yes, yes. So he started taking the bowling. And I remember he's 10 years old. By the time he was 14 years old, I think he had 43 or 53 300 games by the time he was 14 years old. So wait a minute, it gets better. This past year, he was named the PBA Pro Bowler Rookie of the Year. He's on tour, on the PBA tour right now. He's an incredible bowler, but it all started from a dream of being my presentation when he was 10 years old, and wrote it into existence, man.
Mark, how does that make you feel? I mean, seriously, give me the emotion attached to that. I mean, because you're that important to somebody.
even when I talk about it, but there's just one of hundreds of stories just like that. The kids that now own their own business. This little girl, oh my gosh, she keeps in touch with me. She tried to hang herself, and the rope broke when she jumped off the chair, and now she's married with a little kid, and she just dedicates that to the next day. She was at my presentation after she already tried to commit suicide, and she said that she wanted to end her life, but after seeing it, she never tried again, and now she's got a little baby. And so things like that.
That's heavy, man. That's awesome.
To know and it's not Marc Mero. It's like God used me in this powerful way to help somebody else, and that's where I find my joy in my life, and that's why I'll never retire, guys. I'll just refire.
Right.
Ooh, I like that.
I like that
That's a good
reframe.
I'm stealing that.
Write that down.
It's really a blessing. I mean, you got this
Please
second
do.
career just by being yourself and telling the truth. And it just kind of one thing led after another. And now you're a published author. You've written 2 books.
Yeah.
2010's How to Be the Happiest Person on the Planet, self-help book. And then recently, last year, Bad to Good. It's an autobiography. It's right over your shoulder. Do you have any? Do you have any more books in you? Maybe a children's book. That's the one.
We need something that Matt can read.
You know what? Yeah, we actually had the publisher recently reach out to me and want to do a story about all the kids that have written to me over the years and how we can help others by sharing their stories and my answer to what they wrote me. Yeah. So that may be another book down the road.
I love that idea.
Testimonial,
Yeah, that's great.
Because you're
guys,
saying,
you know what? I also
Go ahead.
I also look forward to doing more corporate events too. I love sharing with my peers because so many times, guys, we become complacent in life. One day becomes the next, and we settle for the status quo. We say things like, "Those were the days." Man, I'm here to tell you guys, these are the days.
Yeah.
These are the days that we learn from past mistakes. We grow in grace and knowledge. We could do anything we set our minds to. And I often share this at my presentations. I became a professional athlete at 31. I became an inspirational speaker at 47. I wrote my first book at 50. I became an ordained minister at 52. I wrote my second book at 65. It's like you're never too old. We put this stigma on ourselves saying, those were the days I could never do this. No, if there's a dream inside you, there's a goal you want to do, go after it, man. Write it into existence. But here's the key. Put it somewhere where you have to see it. Write down what you want to do, but put it somewhere you have to do it. Put it on your computer that you open up every day. Put it on your desktop, somewhere where you have to watch it. And every day you see that, it's going to challenge you to go after your dreams and goals. Otherwise, they lie dormant, and we wonder, last year I always thought about doing this, but when it's in front of you, it forces you to take action towards that goal or that dream.
That's kind of what happened with this podcast. We kind of started before we were ready. We've been talking about it for years, and we're like, we just got to pull the trigger, just do it. And now look at us.
We're in this
look at us now. Hey,
we're
look
in
at
this
us.
room with Marc Mero.
Who would
How
have
about
thought?
that, man?
Who would have thought? Exactly.
I think that everybody feels like, why can't I do it? And then you should change that to, why can't I do it? Like, why not? Why can't I do it? You're always looking at those negatives. And Mark, by the way, whenever you text Marc Mero, the message is always, Mitch, how are you? He's always excited. So this is not just a show, all right? That's what I love about it. And I know that you're trying to make a difference. You mentioned those things. Is that when you do corporate stuff, you kind of go after, I imagine you have to change the messaging a little bit, but it's still the same messaging, but just something where they can relate to? Is that really what you're kind of going after with these corporate events?
When I work with a corporation, obviously I find out what they're looking for me to do. But man, everyone sitting there can do something better in life, and maybe it's a relationship. I'll give you another example. Okay, one of the things that you recently, I don't know if you've seen this, Mitch. I lost my trainer that was my trainer for boxing. He died. He's 96 years old, but he was like a second father to me. And one of the things that when my mom died, she left me this big manila envelope. And when I'm going through all this stuff in this manila envelope, it's like because I moved away and lived with my dad for a while, and she'd write me letters, we'd write letters back and forth, and she saved all the times I got like 100% on a spelling test or something, There wasn't a lot of those, but there was one or two. Okay, and as I'm reading all these letters, I realized there was one letter that was missing, and the letter that was missing was a letter of appreciation to my mother that I never wrote until now. And I want to share the letter I wrote to my mom, guys.
Please, yes.
Hey, Mom, this is a letter I wish I had written a long time ago. I wanted you to know how much I appreciate all you have done. You weren't the best cook, but you always had a meal for me. You weren't the best housekeeper, but our house always looked okay. You weren't the best at helping me with my homework, but I always got by. You worked 2 jobs, you weren't home much, but you always had time for me. I guess what I'm trying to say, Mom, is even though I didn't take the time to tell you this, you were really, really the best. I hope somehow you can hear this, because I love you. And what I do is I challenge people in corporations to write a letter of appreciation to someone in their life. Maybe it's their son or daughter. Maybe it's their spouse. Maybe it's their boss. Maybe it's someone who made an absolute difference in their life. And I'm not talking about just text them something. I mean, write a letter.
Yeah.
And let them actually read it and have it in their hand that they can pick up and look at, you know? I'm telling you, it's life-changing, and I'm so glad I was able to do that with my boxing trainer because he just cried, man. You know, he just read that letter and realized how much that man meant to me and what he did for my life.
That's beautiful.
That is 100% beautiful, and I love that, the fact that you do push the fact that you should actually write it. You know, there's scientific where they say there's something from the brain to the heart to the hand that it does when you're actually writing things out. Yeah. It's completely different than texting it out. But what a gift that you gave him. But really, that gift was, you know, something you both could share. Mm-hmm. And I put it down. That's another thing I do is write a letter of appreciation. Listen, look like you're doing this right now, Mark.
I'm going to go call my mom.
Yeah, we're going to
call mine while you're at it.
We're going to call family. Mark, you know, you truly are an inspiration to us. You are a man of many things. And obviously, a lot of people know you as a wrestler. And I thought maybe you could actually have a little fun with us and maybe learn a little bit. We can learn and maybe help us in our career. Would you mind playing a little game with us? It's called Ring Name Roulette. And here's what it is.
Sure.
I've got 3 cups. Show the 3 different cups.
Okay,
that have different
3 cups here.
We have a prefix, a noun, and then a suffix. And so what we're going to do, all 3 of us, we're going to pick from each jar, 1, 2, 3, and that's going to come up with our persona. Right?
Okay.
Now, Matt is our expert here. In the wrestling field, there are different types of wrestlers.
Yeah,
right?
for
Explain that.
the most part, there's a bad guy, which is a heel, a good guy, which is a baby face, and then there's a jobber whose job is to go out there for 5 minutes and just get smacked around.
Like Mark was at the very beginning.
You were a jobber.
And he screwed it up, and then Dusty Rhodes gave him a job.
American Dream come in.
And you were also marvelous, Marc Mero, at some point too. You switched over.
Yeah,
was
that's when I was a bad guy then.
So you were a heel then. So you covered all the bases then,
exactly.
Right? Okay.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Very good. So we're going to do that now. So Matt, we'll start with you. Go from pick up 1, 2, and then we're going to do 3 different names each. And then your job, Mark, will be, and as he randomly picks these out, is you tell us if he's one of those 3. Tell me the 3 again, Matt.
A heel, baby face, or a jobber.
A jobber. All right. So you got yours, 1, 2, and 3.
Mine.
All right, and as we go, you got 1, 2, and 3. Very nice. And I'm going to grab mine. Matt, go ahead and start with yours. What is your title?
All right. This is definitely going to be someone named Karen on the backside of it. The Real Group Chat HOA Complaint.
Say it one more time for Mark so he can tell for sure.
The Real Group Chat HOA Complaint.
All right, so that would be 1 of 3.
Yeah.
What would that persona be? Would it be a babyface, a heel, or a jobber, Mark?
Well, Matthew Mayhem's a jobber, okay?
All right, so the Real Group Chat.
I hate HOA Complaint.
I can smack him around, He's got a very smackable face.
As soon as I hear complaint, I got to go right to the job.
Just going to get smacked around for 5 minutes, thrown through a table.
Very nice. Okay,
I got
Travis, is what's yours?
Diesel Daylight Savings Time Deal.
Ooh, say it one more time.
Diesel Daylight Savings Time Deal.
Ooh, I like that. Is that a baby face, a jobber, or a what's the next? Heel.
Heel.
I'm going to give that one's a heel.
Yeah, it sounds like a heel.
I remember,
All right.
my buddy Kevin Nash was Diesel for a while,
Yeah.
and I always liked that persona. So
we're going to rewind the clocks. You're going to fall back, sucker.
I like that, Mark.
You like that?
Your sleep pattern's going to be off for a month.
Yeah.
All right, here's mine. Mine is, and I kind of feel, these are randomly picked, okay? So mine is Marvelous Preparation H Express. Marvelous Preparation H Express. What am I? A heel, jobber, or baby face?
You got to be a face.
You're a guy I would never wrestle.
All right, let's go through our second round. Very nice. All right, we're going to each all grab our one here. This is our second round. Now, on this one, we're going to do a little bit different. You're going to actually perform as that person.
Okay? We're going to perform the character.
You're going to say, your voice. You come up with the voice and everything.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to pull mine out. You having fun so far, Mark, with these? Can you see how this could really start the careers of three guys in Orlando?
Well, I'm going to the gym right after this to work out, but I could skip abs today because I just got a great ab workout, so I'm very happy.
All right. So, Matt, you're going to do this. You got to do it in the voice.
I got a voice for it.
Oh, yeah, you got a voice. All right, here we go. This is Matt's.
I'm the dangerous tax season assassin.
The dangerous tax season assassin. Jobber, babyface, or heel?
That's definitely a heel.
I went Jason Statham on it.
That was very nice. Yeah, I like that. All right, keep it going.
I got Wild Man, the minivan, carpool line.
Oh, that fits you.
Yeah, I do. I actually do drive a
Can you repeat
minivan.
that one?
So yeah, my character, Wild Man, the minivan, carpool line. I guess I do drive a minivan.
Okay, but you got to do it in the voice, though, man.
Oh yeah. Kids, get in the back. We're going for a ride. Make sure you buckle up.
Ooh, I like that, man.
That's pretty good, man.
That's good. I'm going to go with the baby face on that.
Very
Okay.
good.
10 stars.
All the parents,
Responsibility, I like that.
all the parents in the crowd will feel bad for you. They'll buy your merch just to support your
All
minivan.
right. It sounds like you got a career as that. You should keep that.
I like the other one, too.
That's Marc Mero endorsed. All right,
right.
here's mine. I'm going to try to do it in my voice as well. I'm thinking more like kind of like an Undertaker for this one. All right, but not the voice.
Oh, here we go.
Just the atmosphere. So keep that in mind. I'm the notorious Costco membership enforcer. That's right. The notorious Costco membership enforcer.
Free samples, brother.
Yeah, come get your free samples.
Would you like to switch over to T-Mobile?
You want a $1 hot dog?
Come get this $1 hot dog.
Got that dog in me.
Mark, is that a baby face, a heel, or a jobber?
I want to be completely honest with you guys. One of the things that we're doing after we work out, we're going to Costco. And I can never walk in the same way again, okay?
Well, I say right there, you should look for the notorious Costco membership enforcer.
I'm bulked up. Bought in bulk.
Bulking up. You need to hire Travis here.
Man, I got all the
singers. Those are great. I love it.
Forward, you're going to fall back. I got them all.
Excellent. Good job. Well, thank you for helping us out. Hopefully it helped us in our career as well. Mark, we also have a little segment of our show we call What You Watching. And this is just something you might be watching on television, anything right now, or maybe something you suggest. Any good thing that you're watching right now?
I hate to admit this. Oh, this is where honesty kind of goes against me sometimes. No, what I've been watching lately, okay, is Breaking Bad, okay, from
Favorite show.
Netflix.
I mean, what's wrong with that?
I got
Best
to
show
tell
ever
you,
made.
it's my wife has seen it like 5 times, and she says you got to see this, So
it's your first
we've
time?
been watching that.
Oh, wow.
No, I actually watched it years ago, but I must have fallen asleep at almost every episode because I don't remember so much of it now. Is like really captivating and intriguing, what's going to happen next. So it's been really fun for our nightly thing is to watch an episode of Breaking Bad.
Oh, something positive.
Yeah.
It's really got a great ending.
Yes. Something real positive, that you can you can multitask and have other careers besides the one that you're stuck in.
Okay. Well, that's actually a good point. See how he finds the good out of things?
There's always a
on his
good
face.
pivot.
Okay. What about you, Matt? What are you watching?
What I'm watching, I'm going back to the mid '90s. I'm watching X-Men '97 right now.
Oh, yeah.
and it's so good. It's very adult now, from what I remember in the mid '90s, especially in the second season of it.
Yeah.
It's the writing's good, the show is good. I'm nerding out over that. That's my treadmill show.
Talking about rewatches, you were watching Breaking Bad. Have you ever seen Friday Night Lights?
Not new.
It's an NBC football show, high school football.
Yes.
It's phenomenal, and it has really good messages. My girls are in high school, and so I'm showing that to them. They twirl baton on the sidelines at football games. So I'm trying to get them pumped up for the school year, but then also it has just great messages, great lessons, great cast performances. I'm doing a rewatch of that. It's a phenomenal show.
Mark, I'm about to send you a picture because what's the state law if we ever mention about Breaking Bad to Mitch English?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the Bryan Cranston.
You got to mention that you met Bryan Cranston.
Yes, probably one of the most surreal days of my life. Mark, I just sent you the picture of it.
It's like my Norm Macdonald story.
Your Norm Macdonald.
You've got your Cranston.
So it's a great picture.
I'm at behind that is I'm flying to Albuquerque. Right, I'm going to show the picture here on the show. I'm flying to Albuquerque. There it is. I'm flying to Albuquerque. This kid literally pukes on my lap. No joke. And he kept falling asleep on my head. And so I took a picture of him. Here, I'll send that to you too.
Yeah.
So you'll get some kind of reference to that. And I couldn't believe it. I stay the week in Albuquerque. As I'm leaving, I'm at the airport. This guy walks up to me and says, "Hey, you're Mitch, the weather guy, right?" I go, "Yeah, it's Bryan Cranston." Wow. He watches the show. He sits down. We talk for about 15 minutes, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it." I'm talking to him, and before I didn't know what else to say to him, so I started telling him about what happened to me on my flight over, and I showed him the picture of the kid sleeping on my shoulders. He's, "Oh, that's funny, ha ha ha." He gets up and leaves. I said, "Hey, you might get a picture." He goes, "Yeah." I went to go do a selfie, and he goes, "Wait, hold on."
Yeah.
And he gave me that picture.
He put his head on
his head on my shoulder because of that.
And he's full Heisenberg mode right there too. He's bald with the goatee.
And to the point, I was just looking. I'm talking to Heisenberg.
I got to meet him in Heisenberg mode too, like right at that last season.
Yeah.
And it's intimidating when he just stands up in front of you, like, "Yeah, I'm good, man." You want to run.
Not only that, he knew everything about me. He's like, "You got a bunch of kids, right?" Yeah, right. Like he knew all about that.
Mark, what season are you on right now, Breaking Bad?
My wife's right here. What season are we on? 3? We're on
3. Okay, so it's right getting in the thick of it now. I got to rewatch it now, man. It's so good.
Skyler's the real villain.
Let's say hello.
And I'll stand by that.
Skyler's the real villain.
Hey, congrats.
Hey, there she's.
That's my wife. This is Melissa.
Melissa.
Hey, Melissa.
I look forward to meeting you in person, Melissa. I don't know if she can hear me or not. All right. I'm watching right now, so we can let Mark get to his beautiful wife, Melissa. I'm watching right now is Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed.
On Apple TV.
It's on Apple TV. It's similar to Widow's Bay because there's this mystery. You should definitely check it out. And it's now into the thick of it because she's figured out a lot, and there's still mystery behind it.
So it's like a thriller mystery?
Is
it some comedy to it?
100%. There's great characters just like Widow's Bay.
Oh, I love Widow's Bay. Okay, I'll check that out.
Mark, man, I love you, brother. And to do this show for me is something I deeply appreciate. I know that you need to get on with your life, but we want to make sure that folks can get a hold of you, especially if you want a corporate. Are you still taking any schools at all, or is that pretty much already scheduled?
This will be this upcoming season. I call it my farewell tour. I'm taking on my last schools. Will be this whole school year, and just go to our website, which is ThinkPoz, and Poz is POZ, ThinkPoz.org, and you can find out all the information on us there. Love to come to your school and inspire your students. And if you have a corporation that would like a corporate speaker, I obviously have a lot of fun. There's laughter, there's tears,
yes, there
everything in between.
All right, and your books. Where can folks get your books?
Oh my gosh, just go to Amazon. They're right on Amazon. The quickest way to get them is go to Amazon. And it was a bestseller for a while and did really well, so I'm really proud of that. Bad to Good. It shares some stories I've never shared before about things that I went through or was involved in, and how I came out on the other side, and things like, no matter what you go through in life, man, we are tried by fire. And remember something, wood, hay, and little sticks burn up in a fire, but you, my friend, are a precious stone, and you will endure these fires.
Marc Mero, what a great way to end it.
Wow.
America's #1 school presenter is on our show, and thank you so much for joining us. We deeply appreciate the time you spent with us. Marc Mero, of course, the champion of choices, and of course, ThinkPoz. All right, you two can go from bad to good.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Hey.
You guys are awesome. Take care. God bless.
God bless. What a great guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just phenomenal.
I just love the message that, like we said before on Father's Day episode, your legacy is never written. It's never too late to change your legacy and to make an impact. And, even if you're 30, you can still get in the ring,
Yeah, and him and Diamond Dallas Page were both in their early 30s when they got in there, and nobody thought they could do anything. And I don't know if it's because their maturity of when they got into the business, but you see both of them went on to have to help these guys who had started in their teens, in their early 20s, but they got into it in their 30s and were like, I don't want to mess with all that stuff. I'm going to help you guys. And both of them now Mark does it with the inspirational stuff. And if you've seen the stuff DDP's done to some of these guys, it's amazing. Before Scott Hall passed, he had him clean and ready.
I think it benefited Mark too, because in his 20s, he said it was like a blur of drug abuse.
Yeah.
So he got that out of his system, and he kicked it before he started his career. So he already knew, he already been through that. So I think that's why he's having success now later in life and has that longevity and a healthy lifestyle.
I didn't want to make light of it, but he said, I had a relapse in 2020. I'm like, we all did.
Yeah.
You get a pass.
Hey, 2020 was a rough year.
You get a pass for that year.
We get a pass during COVID.
And real quickly, I almost 2020. I just put it all together. You're right, but they also say when it comes to recovery, sometimes you have to have a relapse to understand because you're going to come back stronger. It's just like anything. It's like you're putting a scab on it. Yeah, the cut's still there, but now your body's protecting it. And a relapse is not meaning it's failure in some sort, but if whatever is on the other side of your relapse, then you consider it a failure, because if you're still doing it, then you didn't learn your lesson through that. And that's a hard concept to kind of understand, is that you have to fail in order to succeed. But you talk about that in businesses, right? I mean, that's what you have to do.
And what I was insinuating,
I'll drink to that.
Was what I was saying with the
cheers. Well, Matt, go ahead, buddy.
Well, with the old wrestlers back in the day, they would work 300 days a year. Your Rowdy Pipers, your guys on the road, you were shoving 4 of these giant men into a little Buick and driving city to city to city. Yeah. And if they didn't have these contracts like they have now, where you were going to get paid if you were laid up. Like a lot of these guys will blow out their knee. They're out for 6 months, but they're still getting paid. Back then, you didn't show up to wrestle. You didn't get paid. Yeah. And it up till the last probably 10 years, there was no insurance for these guys. They were independent contractors. It was kind of run like a carny business. I mean, Vince McMahon was very good at doing that.
He was talking $150. I know those are the 90s, but even still.
Well, if you can go to some of these things, they get $30 for this show or whatever to just be a jobber for the night. But now that they have all these, it's kind of like the NBA. Like LeBron James can play till he's 41. You look at him at 41 versus Michael Jordan when he made it 38, 2 completely different body types because of the technology.
Right.
And so these guys can rehab and
cold
they can
plunges.
And and they didn't have that. You know what they had? They had a 6-pack of Miller Lite on the way to the hotel, the bottle of vodka at the hotel.
Smokes.
And then Ric Flair, if you watch that documentary, he would drink a 12-pack on the way from the arena to the hotel, finish off 10 martinis, go to bed, wake up, work out, and do it all over again. Yeah. And that was just how you managed pain back then.
I mean, they had to inject, they had to stay competitive. And so painkillers, steroids, it was just a culture of abuse back then. And I really admire Mark, and I wish he got the recognition from the wrestling industry that he deserves. Because I feel like that would be a no-brainer. Doing these for these special causes, what he's doing out there, the outreach. Why wouldn't they just incorporate him? You know,
it could turn around with WWE. I mean, and that's what he's talking about, is not being in the Hall of Fame and everything like that.
There is a new in the WWE. There's a new direction. There's a new leader, right?
Well,
yes or no? Tell me that.
Yes, they voted Vince out. TKO, which owns them, the UFC, all these other things that are going on with it. There is a new creative element there, but I think that they're taking their time because we're still waiting for China. If you remember her, the 8th wonder of the world, DX. You've seen her. She did Playboy. They haven't inducted her individually.
She
yet.
passed?
Yeah, she passed. She had a massive drug
another
problem.
one that passed away.
She had a very bad drug problem. And they haven't inducted her individually yet. And I think that they're going to start bringing these guys back that they kind of alienated it. Because Vince would ride a vendetta forever. Yeah. Like forever. If you watch this Jeff Jarrett documentary,
like he was victim of.
That's what it is. And the only people he really would welcome back with open arms were like a Hulk Hogan, where he's like, I can make T-shirt money off of you.
Right.
You know, that was the only reason that ever got
But
fixed.
another wrestler, I forgot to mention, asked Mark about that, but when we lost last year, Hulk Hogan, and Macho Man, a lot of these iconic wrestlers have passed over the years, and we're not sure that they abused steroids and stuff back in the day.
Macho was notorious for all that, and he died sober.
Right.
He died of a heart attack, though, from everything he did.
Heart attack, myocardial infarction is what Hulk died from, also Hulkster. And so this takes a toll. It catches up with you at some point, you know, and I think that's what he's trying to expose.
Yeah, if you ever saw Hogan showed a picture of his back, it looks like there's half a Home Depot in there.
That's what I'm saying. They take this punishment over years.
He was talking about doing 2 shows a day. Sometimes they do 3, and he would, drop it on his tailbone over and over and over because that was Hogan's finishing move. That's what did it to his back. You're dropping onto your tailbone with 300 and something pounds of beef, over and over and over. And with the Chris Benoit thing, his finisher was flying off the turnbuckle and slamming his head into the mat.
Yeah.
Can't tell me that's not going to cause an issue there. Right. And like he was saying, there were never problems with him up till that incident that happened with his family. So
it's something that people, and it's all under the guise of, it's entertainment, but people, that's really, really a lot of playing. Was it really cool talking to WWE?
Yeah, it's awesome. I love talking to these guys. I love their old stories. If you ever get a good wrestler to tell you like behind the curtain stuff, because now they're a little more open to that. I mean, you would have it back in the day where the heels would stay in one hotel and the baby faces would stay in the other, even though they're all friends. But to keep up the kayfabe, they call it kayfabe, which is the thing, to keep kayfabe alive, because The Undertaker... The first time I saw a picture pop out of him in a golf polo, my mind exploded. I was like, "What?" Because he would wear the thing, the hat, all that through airports.
I was at a urinal in men's room, and he walked in next to me. I'm from Palaca, Florida, and I went to high school with his now wife, Michelle McCool.
Oh yeah.
We were just in town, and he walked. I was like, "This is the biggest dude I've ever seen in person."
The largest human I've ever seen and talked to was the Big Show.
Big Show.
Remember when he came on the bus? The guy shook my hand. I looked like a little. My hand was like this compared to him, and then. Campbell was like 6'3", 6'4". He was taller than Campbell.
Oh yeah, he's
the nicest freaking dude in the world.
Right? Yeah.
We were like, "How you doing?" He just took my hand. I was like, "Oh my god, look how big you are."
My wife and I were in L.A. and we'd been out with all of our friends at this convention, and we're walking through the hotel, and AEW, who he wrestles for now, it's the competitor to WWE. I guess had a show in town. I didn't know this, so this bus gets off, and he walks in, and I'm having a night, right? And I was like, "Is that the freaking Big Show?" And I walked over and I just shook his head. He goes, "Wait a minute." Like, you thought I wanted a picture? I'm like,
"Hold on. You asked that question?
Are you the Big Show?"
Where else are you going to see somebody that massive?
Let's just say LA, it's legal.
Okay.
So I was having a Space Cadet moment. And I was just like, "This is a Big Show." And I told my wife, who were both wrestling fans, so we walk over, we shake his head, and he's like ready to line up for autographs or nerd pictures. Like, I want to go, "I just want to tell you, I appreciate you." No, I could hear him go, "I don't know what that was about."
There's a lot of nice guys in it.
The only other experience I had that's close to what I did with the Big Show was when we took pictures with Rhonda Shear. Why is that
I
shot
am a
like
giant.
that?
I think it's maybe forced perspective. I was a little close to the camera, maybe, because we did it right here in the corner. You guys look like dwarves next to me.
That's me in every picture of my wife.
And Rhonda, we're going to have Rhonda on the show.
Yes.
Oh, we had Rhonda on the show.
Right.
But yeah, that it was great meeting her. But yeah, I looked at that picture. I'm like,
why am I so much bigger?
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, Matt. I appreciate your knowledge, of course.
He's the wrestling
very
guy.
Nice, very evil.
So
I want to say thank you for having Mark on. He's a great guy. Wrestling has a lot of great guys, a lot of heels. He's definitely not one of them. He's the real deal.
What y'all saw, that's him.
Yeah.
And
what a nice dude.
Nicest teeth I've ever seen.
Whatever. And he's also, when we used to go out to lunch, I would say once a quarter. All right. I know I'm dropping names right now, but he was just that good. He was concentrated on me.
Yeah.
And talks to me just like that, and and gave me a lot of advice through my life. So that's why I cherish my friendship with them. We appreciate you for tuning in. Of course, you can check out an episode of Opinionish every Wednesday. A brand new episode comes out. Head to our website, opinionishpodcast.com. We're also all over social media, right?
Yeah.
This is where I set you up and you say, well, join us at Opinionish.
Join us at Opinionish.
Just say that. Yeah.
OpinionishPodcast.com. We're on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, and Facebook. Check us out. Like, follow, subscribe.
All right, just get your name because that's going to be our outro. Okay. Get your names together here. And again, we encourage you to please follow us on our YouTube. And we need as many followers. I'm just going to beg. I'm just going to be positive and just say.
Might even do some on the road stuff.
We are. We're just saying, please, we need some followers. Mark said, put it out there. We're going to have 1 million followers on YouTube. Do you believe it? Well, I do, but we need your help.
We gotta manifest it.
So, thanks again for tuning us in. I am Costco, the notorious Costco membership enforcer.
I'm the rowdy green pants machine.
I'm Kid Natural, Kid Special, the Natural. I grabbed a bunch of prefixes.
Actually, that was pretty good. Actually, it still works. Thanks everybody for joining us. This has been Opinionish.